When you're trying to build motions, what are the 2 or 3 things you have to consider from a readiness perspective you go into this place? Do you have some thoughts on that? How do I find out, am I ready for the marketplace? Because like the way in old school, you would not be ready with the distribution if you didn't have certain amount of velocity.
I think like with marketplaces, a lot of nuances in the question, and I think it's great just kind of point to go deeper. So I would recommend to think about marketplace from almost any point in your maturity. So you should have a listing, at least on the cloud provider where you build. And I think nothing really prevents you from I mean, there's no like obstacles. If you want to double down on that, you need to build like a strategy, and this is what we kind of teach in the course. But essentially the idea is that you need to put deliberate efforts, just like you put in any marketing or like sales or like kind of building different channels to get traction with that cloud provider. And you need to figure out, do you do like PLG strategy on marketplace? And then how do you drive traffic to that? Do you need to build cross-sell motion, and then so on? I think it's a little bit different from disties. There's argument that they are sort of competing, disties and marketplaces. But I think a couple of thoughts on this. Number one, you probably know better than me, is that the model of resale is kind of like losing its prominence. More value-add services, more kind of different type of expertise required, and in this kind of new SaaS world. But at the same time, disties have a lot of scale, brand value and so on, and they can push your software where you wouldn't be able to get yourself. And therefore, now hyperscalers, these marketplaces work with channel partners, including disties. Sometimes it's like uncomfortable kind of in the beginning, but they're figuring this out. And I think so distil will continue to exist, and hyperscalers will also grow into prominence at the same time. I think they both actually trying to figure out what is the value that they provide to customers, and how do they, because I think some hyperscalers call these days scale partners. And I think this is what they are.